We've got some more New York Rangers news to take a look at here today involving Ryan Lindgren and him talking about his name kind of floating around in trade rumors, and he kind of gave his thoughts on that and him wanting to stay potentially with the Rangers as well. And we'll also take a look at some more trade news and kind of news involving the JT Miller and New York Rangers situation. And this is some news where I know a lot of Rangers fans may be getting tired of hearing this news, but it definitely is pretty interesting to kind of take a look at. So definitely stick around for that in the second half of this video. But taking a look here, we're going to start off with the Ryan Lindgren news here and kind of what he had to say about, just kind of hearing his name, involved in rumors and seeing that kind of stuff. And, obviously it seems like he does kind of want to remain with this Rangers team, but at the end of the day, it is a business, and I'm sure he knows that. So obviously, things can definitely happen. He still could get traded away. He may remain in this team as well, and that is still a possibility. There's no guarantee he gets moved away. I mean, if the Rangers start to really kind of push back for a playoff spot there, get right back up there into that kind of mix, then maybe they do end up keeping Lindgren and keeping some of these other expiring contracts that, personally, I do kind of want to see traded away. Guys like particularly Ryan Lindgren and Riley Smith, two players who I don't really want to see re-sign with the Rangers. So in my opinion, trading those guys away and getting back some assets, and it's not like you're going to get back, like a second round pick and a great prospect for either of these guys, but you can still get back, picking a good prospect or, a really decent draft pick or a really decent prospect. You can get back some decent assets for Ryan Lindgren and Riley Smith, and by trading them away, you would also help open up some roster spots for some younger players that are down in Hartford right now who definitely could use a possible chance at the NHL level and definitely could benefit from that as well. So it's not just about getting the assets, it's also about kind of opening up spots, giving some looks at some younger players, and by trading Ryan Lindgren and Riley Smith away and calling up and kind of using these players like, a Brett Berard or Victor Mancini or these type of guys that are down there in Hartford and kind of young prospects and young guys, playing these players, it's not like they're going to be major downgrades, if any at all, over guys like Riley Smith and Ryan Lindgren as well. I mean, for the most part, maybe they're a tick worse, here and there, but I think they can definitely bring about as much as these kind of players do. And, they're doing a good job as well, but we saw some really good stuff from some younger guys earlier on this season. I mean, Victor Mancini had his moments as well. So did Brett Berard. Some other guys down there as well, like Brendan Othman, obviously, who could, get a chance once again. So I just think overall, there are definitely some benefits to trading away a guy like Ryan Lindgren, but he ended up kind of coming out here and basically talking about hearing his name in trade rumors, so let's take a look at what he had to say. Quote, "I just try to block it out," Lindgren said via Larry Brooks of the New York Post. "I don't like hearing or seeing my name included in these rumors, but I know where I am with my contract and I get it. I'm just trying to do my best, focus on hockey with what the team needs and try and enjoy it." And I think Ryan Lindgren has been a valuable player at moments for this team in the past, in playoffs, in the regular season. At moments, he has been a really solid and good player for this team at moments, but he's also had some times where he hasn't been the best. And this season, we've definitely seen a lot of that. And with him being in a contract year and him probably wanting a decent chunk of change on a decent kind of, term-wise, decent amount of years, it just does not seem like the right fit for the Rangers with where they're at, with especially now locking in a guy like Will Borgen into a deal where you're pretty much cementing him into that kind of second kind of pair. And you also have a guy like Braden Schneider who, there were a report that kind of came out stating that the Rangers are more than kind of willing to have a guy like Braden Schneider kind of play on the left side long term, even though he is, more of a right-handed guy, but has obviously played on the left side in the past and has even played on the left side, this season, obviously. So he has experience playing both, and the Rangers are comfortable with having him be on the left side long term if it's needed. So I definitely think that trading away a guy like Lindgren, getting back whatever you can for him, allowing a different guy to kind of step into the lineup and get more of a shot, a younger guy, would not be the worst idea. And, maybe the Rangers still go out there and make a trade for a decent defenseman who's somewhat young, possibly, who has a bit of term potentially. I mean, you never know what they could go out there and do, but I just think trading away a guy like Ryan Lindgren just would not be a bad idea. And, he seems like a great guy and all, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And I do think the best decision for the Rangers would be to trade away Ryan Lindgren to a team who's looking to add in a solid depth defenseman. And Lindgren can definitely still be a very valuable NHL player. He's not going to be a great one, and maybe on a contending team won't be a kind of top four guy really, but I think in a bottom pairing role on a contending team or a playoff caliber team, he can have a pretty decent kind of impact there. He's not going to be an elite defenseman, obviously, we know that, but he can still be, I think, especially in a change of scenery as well. And that is something big. And we've definitely seen that with certain players where they leave New York, they get out of the New York area, leave the Rangers franchise, this historic franchise, all this pressure. They go somewhere else where there's maybe a little bit less of that, and they end up having a decent amount of success. So maybe he is one of those players as well. And if he is, good for him. Obviously, it would be, not the best scenario for the Rangers, but if he ends up leaving, having a great career, then good for him. But I really do think that trading him away, getting some assets back in return is what's best for this team. And next up here, we've got some JT Miller news here. And I know a lot of Rangers fans are getting tired of hearing this news. And, it is getting a little repetitive for sure. But this is pretty interesting here as we have some pretty big news involving this situation, as it seems like the whole news surrounding the Rangers and the JT Miller kind of possible trade that could go down at some point apparently is not going anywhere. And I'm sure a lot of Rangers fans out there are not going to be too happy to hear that. So let's kind of break down the news here that we have to take a look at. So let's take a look at the article here from the Hockey News, and they end up saying, with the Vancouver Canucks in complete disarray due to the reported feud between Miller and Elias Pettersson, the organization is on the verge of blowing up the core. The Rangers have been linked to have interest in Miller, while also reportedly engaging in conversations with the Canucks for the veteran forward. Darren Dreger of TSN believes that the speculation around Miller and the Rangers will only continue to pick up steam. And I know a lot of Rangers fans definitely do not want to hear that at all. And that's fair. I mean, there has been so much, just constant kind of news and rumors about this happening for a long time now. And it's not just been, a week or two now. It's been a very long time that we've heard all this kind of news and just kind of rumors about a possible trade that could go down between the Rangers and the Canucks. And I mean, it just hasn't happened yet, obviously. And there has been that pretty big interview that happened with Jim Rutherford, the Vancouver Canucks president of hockey operations, where he basically kind of talked about how there's absolutely no chance at this point where they end up kind of making up there and they kind of get past this situation here and they end up kind of sticking together on the Canucks. So it definitely seems like a trade is going to happen at some point with Elias Pettersson or JT Miller leaving. My guess is still JT Miller to probably end up getting the move. But when is it going to happen and is it going to be at the Rangers? We have no idea, but apparently the kind of reports and rumors are not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And I do really wonder, when is this deal actually going to happen? Is it going to happen, in the next couple weeks, like a week or two possibly coming up somewhat soon? Is it going to happen right at the deadline, or is it possibly going to happen this upcoming offseason, which I definitely think is possible. I'm sure the Canucks would much rather kind of make this trade happen now just to get past this whole situation and kind of move towards the future. But anyways, definitely comment down below your thoughts on today's video and kind of the report here with obviously Ryan Lindgren not being too happy about his name being involved in trade rumors, as well as definitely comment down below your thoughts on the Rangers possibly, making that trade officially for JT Miller. Do you want to see them actually kind of make that trade happen? I know a lot of Rangers fans definitely don't want to see that happen, and I do think there are other names possibly out there that could be better fits, like a potential name like a Dylan Cousins. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I do think there are some better names that could possibly be out there around the deadline or closer to it, or possibly even this upcoming offseason as well. So I hope Chris Drury does not jump the gun there and kind of force a trade here, overpay for a depreciating asset in JT Miller. And I think he's still a good player right now, but his value right now is definitely nowhere near his peak. So in my opinion, paying a ton for a guy like JT Miller, with him aging, with us already having someone like Zibanejad, and him maybe not being the best overall kind of teammate as well, there are a lot of kind of things that factor into this, but it just may not be the overall best fit for JT Miller, but there very well could be a kind of better fit for a different star out there as well. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one. Let's go Rangers.